And it's action. And that's what we're talking about today. So if you've been sitting on that fence, making excuses, waiting for the right time to take that action on the dream that you desperately want to achieve, whether that be success, health, wealth, mindset, no matter what it is, if you're looking for the right time, it's now. If you're looking for a sign, this is it. This is your wake up call. Okay. And if this message today doesn't hit you right in the gut, I don't know what will. Okay, what's up, everyone? LG here, back with another video. And as usual, my only intention is to inspire you to take the action to become the best version of yourself. Okay, because today I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little. Because when I first heard that, it stung massively. Okay, one of my first mentors, he asked me, he says, "Do you love your kids?" And I said, "Of course, they're my world." He says, "Do you want them to be happy?" And I was like, of course, they are everything to me. He says, "Do you want them to experience the same things that you've experienced in your life?" And I was like, "No, definitely not." He says, "Well, listen, you need to take this on board." He says, "Your kids might fail to listen to you, but they will never fail to emulate you." And boom, right? That was probably one of the biggest realizations or aha moments that I've ever had in my life. Because your kids, they really don't care what you say. They care what you do. That's why you hear it's like going in one ear and out the other. Okay, they don't listen to your big long lectures. They they don't listen to your advice. Okay, they watch you, they study you, and then without you realizing it, they become a mini you. Okay, another version of you, right? And every action you take, every habit, every reaction, every excuse, it's shaping the person that they're becoming, right? So ask yourself, what example are you setting? What role model are you being? Because you are creating an invisible blueprint for them. Okay. And when was the last time you actually observed your child? Right? The other day, I was taking my son to football, right? And I just sat there listening to him, watching him, right? He's only 8 years old, but you know what? He's so intelligent and he remembers everything. He soaks everything up like a sponge. And, our children, they aren't just listening to when we speak, right? They're absorbing their entire environment, right? And in psychology, there's a concept called mirror neurons, right? And these are the brain cells responsible for imitation. So when your child watches you, their brain fires as if it was actually doing what you're doing. And what does that mean, right? It means that every habit, every reaction, every belief system you carry is being downloaded into their subconscious mind. And and this is why children of addicts have a greater chance of becoming addicts. Now, obviously, I'm not saying this is a blanket case, but in my experience, I've been around addiction for a long time, and there is a kind of record of that. And this is also why kids who are raised in violent homes, they often struggle with aggression, right? And this is also why children of people who are out there chasing their dreams, taking action, that they have a greater chance of stepping into their power because this is what they've witnessed their whole life. And this is not about controlling your child's future. It's about understanding that their foundation is being built the way that you live your life, right? So are you giving them a blueprint for success or a blueprint for struggle like maybe you have in your life? Because the moment that I kind of realized it or took it on board is this is when things started to change because I wanted to stop drinking. I really did. And I tried so many things, but one of the biggest driving factors for me actually doing it was my children, right? And I was deep in my struggles of addiction, self-doubt, trying to constantly escape the pain and the guilt and the shame, right? And I definitely didn't want my kids to have that life. I wanted them to have a better life. I wanted them to be strong, confident, successful, right? But at that point, that's not what I was setting them up for. I was setting them up for the same struggles that I had. They were watching me drown in my bad habits. They were watching me become overweight. They were watching me, drink myself to like beyond passing out. They were watching me distract myself, and instead of, facing those demons and healing the wounds that I had, they were watching me play small instead of, really going for what it is I wanted. And the thought that my son and my daughter to grow up and follow the same path as me, I had that thought so many times. What if they go through that same pain, that same addiction, the same self-destruction, right? And that really destroyed me inside. Okay, because every habit, was either helping my kids or it was hurting them. And this was a huge pivotal point. And not just my addiction, I'm talking about everything in life, right? And at the point, I had built a successful barber shop and I had a business from the outside. Things were looking great, but inside, I still wasn't going full out, right? So I knew that things had to change and I took some massive risks, right? But not just for me, but for them. Okay, I couldn't just tell them that they had to be great. I had to show them what greatness looked like, right? And I'm still not there yet, right? I've still got a long way to go, but they know, that how important it is to chase your dreams because they see me do it every day. And they've seen me doing it for the past 5-6 years, every single day. And even to the point, my children meditate, they know what crystals are, what spirituality is. And it's not that I push anything on them. They see me doing it and then they ask questions because they want to know the answer, right? And their development is massively impacted, right? So let's look at it from a different point of view, right? Let's look at it from a scientific point of view, right? See emotional regulation and coping mechanisms. Children learn how to handle stress by watching us, right? So if they see you numbing your pain with alcohol, food, distractions, okay, that's what they're going to do. But if they see you facing those challenges head on, right? Resilience, patience, emotional intelligence, they're going to adopt that. Okay. Also, if a child watches you grow up, right? It watches their parents grow up and start to chase their dreams, to show discipline, right? And to see them maybe fall and get back up, refuse to settle. They learn that they are capable of that too, because you're their superhero. So if they see a parent constantly complaining, making excuses, settling for less, that voice becomes their little inner critic for life, right? And their subconscious, beliefs and identity, they start to form at a young age. And see, by the child's about 7, 8, their mind is basically hardwired with their core beliefs. Now, they can either limit them or propel them up, right? And there's no such thing as a perfect parent, right? There's no such thing as a perfect parent. We're all going to have our flaws. But the sooner you realize that you're shaping their mind, the better, because they form their identity based on what not just you tell them, right? And there will be parts that they'll listen, right? I'm not talking to ignore everything, but it's mainly constructive of how they see you live your life. So if you're neglecting your dreams, right, and you're settling for less, you're drowning in TikTok and everything else, all sorts of distractions, when you avoid truly stepping into the version that you can become, because we all have that genius, like I keep saying, you're not just letting yourself down, you're also letting your future generations down. Okay, and this is not just all about your children. It's what about you? How it changes you? Because when you start living in alignment with the life that you want, then you bring your children along with you. Okay, you start changing. You stop making excuses. You start showing up as this amazing creative machine. Okay, you start feeling proud of that version that's looking back in the mirror. Okay, because when you know that their little eyes are watching you, you stop tolerating your own bullshit as well, because you know that you're guiding them, right? So you hit the gym, right? Not just to look good, but to show them what self-discipline looks like. You eat right, not just for health, but to show them that their body is a temple and it's worth taking care of. You chase your dreams, not just for personal success, but to show them that anything is possible. Because imagine you're telling them, go and chase your dreams, do this, do that, and you're not doing it. You're a hypocrite. But when you start going and doing these things, you start to build that belief within yourself, okay? And you start to truly elevate in life. Because when you prove to your child that transformation is possible, you're also proving it to yourself. And that gives you that self-confidence, that belief within yourself, right? Because if let's just talk, right? See, if you're out of shape, right, and you're eating shit all day, right? What do you think you're teaching them? You're teaching them that it's okay to eat shit and not work out and be a slob. If you're constantly complaining about life, or poor me, that you're playing the victim, that, nothing's good about life, and you do nothing to change it, you're telling them that excuses are normal, that being a victim's acceptable. Okay? And as I said before, if you tell them to chase their dreams, but you haven't taken one step towards your own, what do you think's going to happen? They're going to see you straight through your bullshit. They think, if dad doesn't do it or mum doesn't do it, then why do I have to do it? They're not doing it. Right? And maybe you're sitting there thinking, oh, do you know what, man? I've already made these mistakes. Good. Because do you know what? Awareness is the first step to change. And the full thing here is, nobody is going to change it for you. Nobody is coming to save you. There's no magic wand here. You have to save yourself. And by doing that, you're preparing your children for a brighter future. Now, please don't take this message the wrong way, right? I am not coming from a place of, to get you to take action from a place of fear or guilt, right? I am only giving you the same realization that I had. And it was probably the biggest, most pivotal realization I've ever had, because it lit a fire inside me, not just to become the best version for myself, but to become the best version for my kids. Also, that's going to impact my own happiness, my own sense of pride, my own inner peace, but also it's going to impact everybody in my life. Because see, when you start living aligned with your purpose, then things in your life is obviously going to change. You start coming from a place of love, compassion, gratitude, inspiration. You're constantly in that flow state. And I can tell you from first-hand experience that there's no better feeling than knowing you're living a purpose-driven life. Waking up every day with that desire to live life to the fullest. And that impacts every part of your day, how you feel, the relationships you have, also how you look in the mirror with that person looking back at you, right? So please take this from a place of love, that I only want you to take action, because I know that that's the hardest part to take, is taking that first step. But as soon as you start taking that first step, then the other steps will become clear to you. But they will not become clear until you take that first step. So this message is coming from love, right? Because you might not know what your purpose is, right? And that's totally okay. But that doesn't mean that you can't start taking the steps to become the best version of yourself. In fact, that's just gave me an idea. I'm going to do a video on how to take inspired action. I'll do that. That'll be my next video. So I'll link it in the description once it's done. And it's based on Bashar's formula, all right? It's called the Formula for Living an Aligned Life, right? But let's get back to this video. And that doesn't mean you can't start taking, steps right now, right? So in the meantime, start to rewrite the blueprint for your life and the generations to come. Start taking control of your own life. Exercise, not just for vanity, but to show discipline, self-respect. And also, it's going to make you feel better. It's going to make you function better. Eating better, not just for health, but to show them that it's important to eat the right foods. Also, it's going to help you think clearer, focus, perform better. Okay, reading, learning, growing. Okay, you show them that knowledge is power. Meditating. My children see me meditate every day. Okay, and it's not just for peace, but I do it for me, but also do it to show them that it's okay to meditate. It's actually amazing to meditate. And it's so important to be able to connect with yourself on a deeper level. And most importantly, take that action. Take that action towards your dreams, right? Not just for the success, the fulfillment, but to show them that anything is possible, because if they see you do it, I'm telling you, they will believe in anything is possible, right? They will follow in your footsteps. Okay? When they see you Face your struggles. Instead of running from them, they will do the same. When they see you refuse to settle for a mediocre life, they're going to aim so much higher. This is about breaking generational cycles, because you're creating the new standard. You're creating the new benchmark. And see, one day, when you look back over your life, okay, and your child comes up and you ask them, that was amazing. And they said, Dad, I done it because of you. Because of you, I believed I could, or Mum, or whoever. Right? And this is how important it is for you to chase your best version and to truly go for what that inspired dream inside you is. Because we all have it. And as I've said before, you would not have that dream, that vision, if you could not make it a reality. There is a reason why you are feeling pulled to do something, because that's where your purpose, your gifts, your talents, that's where your gift to the world lies. So here's a challenge for you, right? What's one bad habit that your kids are picking up from you today? What's one change you can make today to set a better example? Drop it in the comments and then go and take the action, because this isn't just about you. Your child's future is being written right now by the choices that you make today. So don't just tell them what's possible, show them what's possible. Okay? And as I said, please don't take this from a place of fear or guilt. This is all coming from love. This helped me truly step into the best version of myself. And if it can help me, it can help anyone. Okay? And if this resonated with you and you want to continue on this journey with me, drop a like on the channel. It goes a long way. And subscribe to the channel, because this journey is only going to get more expansive. It's only going to get deeper. Right? So stay strong, stay focused, stay intentional, and go out there and chase those dreams. Love you guys. Take care. And there's another video for you right here.